So one of the questions I wanted to ask, and I'm sorry Brandon dropped off, but like, I got to admit, man, like I got a taste of the sweetness. You know, last summer I got to fly the international Europe stuff and some international stuff, other places, Hawaii and all that. And like, I'm having withdrawal. Like I'm sitting at home. I got a newborn at home. I got a 5-year-old and I got a dog that's 1-year-old, and I'm at home all the time, and we don't have daycare, and I'm in charge of all of these people. And it's like, I don't want to play the game where I'm like not responsible and I'm not a good parent, and I'm trying my hardest, but like I'm an outdoor cat. Like I should be out like sniffing the scents in the neighborhood and finding out what's going on, and this shit where I'm just stuck in the house and I can't go to all these places with the kids where, you know, I like to teach my kids, but I can't take them places because everything's shut down. And it's pretty heavy, man. Like I told JoJo today, I was like, I'm not doing that great. Like
well,
you can't go on the internet because the internet's freaking nuts right now.
You mean all the nice things people are saying to each other?
No, I mean, like, all right, this guy can't have a comment, and I shouldn't because I didn't grow up around it and I don't have any issues that deal with that or a history with it. So my 2 cents don't count, and I don't want to give it. And then, you know, everybody's talking about it. There's no sports to freaking disappear to.
Yeah.
And
same boat, man.
And I got a kid that's drooling on my shoulder and throwing up, and then the dog's like bite me because he's got to go out and piss, and then the kid needs picked up from school. And how are you doing?
The same boat. Shannon and I she had to come to Jesus with me. You know, she was like, dude, I don't like you right now. You know, there was a couple day period where she's like, you're real short. I got real frustrated with everything that we were doing. Like, kiddo and I were out working on something, and I didn't snap at her, but I was definitely not father of the year material, if that's what you're going after. But yeah, man, I'm the same way. You know, and it's not just me, it's her dealing with the fact that I'm always around. She's never dealt with that before.
Hey, Brandon, we're talking about like your mental capacity to be in this new world that we're in, as far as like, you used to be out flying the line, not you specifically because you sat every day on reserve and didn't do S, but like for me, like I'll admit, like I'm kind of a little depressed. Like
it could get to you. The only saving grace for me is that I was always doing something else. I always want to be in a position of fuck you. So,
but I have that. I got rental properties. I got military duty. I got all. But like
rental properties, though, like you let it sit. The military thing is so like, but that's why we talk about getting into our passions and getting into what we're good at. Or getting into that and understanding what that is. And it's a perfect opportunity now to really dig into finding out what your passions are, finding out what your talents are, mixing that shit up, and then go finding something out in the world that could use your expertise. Rental properties is not it. I know I've talked to guys that are doing that business too, because you buy them, then you let it sit. Unless you're doing some big commercial deal that incorporates a lot of business and a lot of all that, you know, acumen, sure.
I know, Brandon, but I mean, I'm talking about the general man. I'm talking about like, we're talking to our brothers out there, and not everybody is, you know.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You got to find that. You got to find that thing. If you know, if you're feeling that way, the reasons why you're feeling that way is typically because of not having that peace inside, or not even peace. What's the term? It's not even happiness. You're looking for a purpose,
motivation, something.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. What's the purpose? What are you trying to accomplish in life? You're not just trying to be a pilot, are you? Fuck. I'm already a great pilot, better than you three fucks.
That's true. Well,
debatable.
We're all better than Tyler, so that doesn't matter.
Brandon, how many hours did you actually operate an airplane last year?
At the airline?
Either one.
Dude.
Where else do you fly?
Maybe less than, you know, I could look it up, but you know what? I'll look it up.
No, do you even know how to, do you even know how to look it? You don't know how to look it up. He doesn't know how to look it up.
Talk amongst yourselves.
So, Zach, I wanted to jump in on something you were talking about, because I think it's super. This is like probably to me the most important part of the whole conversation. So, being a guy who had I guess a small business, and then kind of doing some other stuff on the side. And then just like I had, projects around the house, whatever. But I will tell you what, all of us, I think, and this is a real representative group of the bigger picture with these folks, military guys, all of us, I think, got through the first 2 months of this in the beginning fairly easily because it was like a deployment. In my opinion, I felt like I was deployed. Same thing every day. It just, my family was there, and I could drink as much as I wanted to drink. And I had my home gym and all that stuff, so I was good.
Were you drinking the same thing you're drinking tonight?
No, because
That's marginally depressing.
I didn't realize
I was gonna say
press
that's pretty
existed.
Imagine
However,
if you had
I will
that
say,
on month 1.
I will say, boxed wine goes down great, and I drink a lot of that.
My dad at 60 loves a box wine.
I do. I'm a big fan, man. Kirkland Signature. So, not affiliated. So the other thing I noticed though was after probably like in the last 3 weeks, the ramp off the edge was bad. You know what I mean? Like that's where I noticed that I was getting short, that my purpose wasn't, I didn't feel like I had, not the pilot part, but just, I'm not a stay-at-home dad by trade. And all of a sudden I was like, dude, I'm confused is what I'm supposed to be doing now. And the stuff that I want to do, like I do, like Brandon said, find your passions, find what else drives you. The next thing I know is I've got like kind of a job, a side gig that might happen. But the problem is what is it related to? The other thing I love, sports. Well, that ain't going on either. So it's like you just kind of bounce from thing to thing until I guess it lands. And the worst part is I wasn't really talking. I wasn't even, I talk to everybody about anything, about everything. And I wasn't really talking about just the fact that I was like, dude, I kind of feel like shit, man. And I guess we're never supposed to say that. Well, one day I was like, dude, I feel like shit. I'm not that happy. And it's nobody's fault but my own. And the next thing I know, I was like, you know what? That felt really good.
That's what a pilot does. That's what.
And it felt really great to say that. And then I felt better. And I seriously felt better like the day I said it. It was crazy.
I don't know. I have a good friend that we both went to college at Southern Illinois University. I went for engineering. I did ROTC, and all I want to do is something else, engineering and military.
And you were almost a Division I basketball player.
Well,
almost. I've seen the boy hoop.
Yeah. Anyway, but I got a call from my buddy that went the GA track, like general aviation. He got all his qualifications, got his degree. He goes off and flies regionals for 10 years, gets the call up to the big boys. He's working at Brandon's company. And he calls me up and he's frantic. Like he is calling me up asking like what my company's doing, what our union's saying, and he wants to know everything. Like he's digging.
And that's the difference. That's the big divide between, and not to say anyone is better than the other, and fine, you give comments, I don't give a shit. But the difference between the military guy and the civilian dude, I think because of the crucible to which we have been trained and stuff that we've done over the last 20 years, right? We've been doing this crap. I think we're more suited to be like, I'm not getting shot at. Whereas my GA counterparts, they kind of stress out a little bit.
But I'm talking about like uncertainty. Like
they're not good with uncertainty. They're not good with.
But that's what's happening is like you got the COVID-19 stuff going on, family life going on, your job is in peril potentially. And how do you plan for it when nobody's talking about it? Like, I don't know what your guys' unions are doing, but our union's saying it's not going to happen. And they're not giving any like, hey, you guys need to plan for the future. You guys need to figure this out. And it's all like hush, hush. And
that should tell you something right there. Look, when it comes to the corporations and the unions that we are involved in are no different. They're corporations. They're business entities. They have to hold their cards close. They just have to. And I don't think it's against us. And I don't think it's this, it doesn't have to be this adversarial thing, but in that, take some notes. That means that we need to start doing for ourselves too, whatever that means. You know, if it means going back to school, if it means, you know, finally getting that degree, finally getting into a certain business. And with that sense of purpose, we end up having, it takes away from the fear factor, because we're actively doing something. So then we're not worried about, oh crap. It's when we're idle and we're just kind of sitting there, we sitting on our hands, is when we start getting, you know, worried, like, oh shit, you know, these people need to be telling me something. But let's be honest, they don't.
And this
we
is
like them too, but
this is the perfect opportunity to, like, whatever you've always wanted to do outside of aviation, to do it. You've got time. You've still
I wouldn't
got a
say
paycheck.
perfect, but it's one of the better opportunities, because it's
You're
not
still
perfect.
getting paid, right? Like,
No, but I mean,
but
the opportunities that, for instance, the job that I want to do doesn't exist right now, and there's no way to make it exist, because professional sports don't exist.
well, they will.
What am I supposed
they
to?
will though. What are you talking about? They
It
exist.
as you know as good as anybody, it takes time to build the business, right, Adam?
So
like, build it so it's ready when the world comes back.
Well, I wish that was true, but I'm telling you, the person, because I don't want to build a business on this. I want to go to work for a company that does this already. And the problem is it not only doesn't exist right now, it's not going to come back the way it once did, because of the advertising dollars that go with it. It's sports marketing.
Tyler, the XFL went out of business. Adam was really hoping to make
Oh, dude.
He was instrumental in that whole WWF to WWE movement.
I wanted to be a punt returner, just so I could get clocked without, you know, no fair catches, man. No fair catches.
The XFL is coming back, just so you know.
Thank God.
It'll be back. Tampa Bay Vipers, holler at your boy.
But what I'm saying is there are certain things, and I do agree that this is a good time to work on yourself a little bit, figure out what you, but even if you didn't do it and you figured out what it was that you want to go do, that is doing something. And I think that was the thing. Like, for me, that was the transitional leap that I needed to hear, because I was like, oh, you know, I want to do the entrepreneurial thing. And I'm like, you know, I kind of like it. It's fun, but I don't have an interest in going and opening a bunch of businesses, or I don't have that desire. And I said, but I would love to invest in people who do that stuff. I think that's really cool. I would like to do this thing with sports marketing on the side, but that's got to wait. But the fact that I realized that, learned it, made the contacts that I needed to make, so when stuff does start up again, I can go start, you know, I mean, I'm going to start at ground zero and be a baby again and start all the way from the bottom and work myself up if I have to do that, because I'm interested and I want to do that. But for the guys who aren't doing that, and the gals who are sitting out there who are still going, oh my gosh, what happens October 1st? It's like, if that's all you're thinking about, then you do have to take some stock. If you're still thinking about that and that alone, you need to take some stock and figure it out, because there are people still doing that. They're still doing
I agree with Tyler, man. That was a perfect time. There's no such thing as a perfect time, but this is about as perfect as I get.
It's as good as you're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, if you're still an airline guy and you're still getting paid to sit at home, you may or may not get furloughed. You know, it's more than what the guys had in the past. I mean, they were getting letters like a month out. Oh, and by the way, here's your letter.
9/11, man.
You're furloughed in 30 days. We got like 6 to 8 months, if not, you know, longer maybe.